What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Fireside Giants. I'm your host, Anthony Rivardo, and today I want to talk about this quarterback room for the New York Giants. This quarterback room is bringing new energy, quote unquote. You got Russell Wilson stepping in here as the experienced veteran, lending all of that knowledge and that timeless experience to this quarterback room. You've got the young gun in Jackson Dart, who brings the charisma and the personality. And of course, you've got another veteran in Jameis Winston, who is hilarious in every interview that he does, but also just a wonderful leader in the locker room. And Tommy DeVito, who's familiar with the scheme and has been here for 3 seasons and has become somewhat of a fan favorite, as we all know. So let's talk about this quarterback room. Let's talk about that new energy and what that means for this New York Giants team as they enter quite a pivotal 2025 season with Brian Daboll on the hot seat and with his back against the wall. Can this quarterback room do what it needs to do in order to get that bounce back season for Daboll? Now, before we dive into this topic, I will say a couple of things. Going to be a shorter episode. Strap in and enjoy, but it is my birthday, so I'm going to make this one short and then go celebrate and have some fun. But also on the horizon for you guys, did an interview today as well with Mark Hall Enterprises. Mark Hall is a defensive line coach who's working right now with Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, and Jordan Riley. And he dropped some fantastic insight in this interview talking about the New York Giants defensive linemen and how to be a great defensive lineman. Just was a great interview. That's on the horizon. Stay tuned for that. That should be live tomorrow or Friday, most likely. It'll be our 4th of July present in celebration to you all here on Fireside Giants. But definitely, guys, you don't want to miss that one. Tune in, or another really great interview dropping here on FSG. Thank you guys for all the support, helping us grow. That's how we secure these great interviews, and we're really close to 25K. So, all right, I'll digress off of that. Let's get back into the main topic of conversation. Let's talk about this revamped quarterback room bringing this new energy. Now, I'm going to start this off reading some quotes. This one's coming from Tyrone Tracy Jr. saying, quote, "I think it's the energy he brings." This is what he said about Russell Wilson, by the way, to clarify. "Every time he walks into the meeting room, he greets everybody. It starts with that." You know what I'm saying? That is the main thing that I see. Russ, he's very intentional in what he does. He speaks to everybody. Again, no matter if you're the starter or you're number 3, whatever it is, he treats you like you're the starting person, but he also gives confidence in you. He speaks life to you, end quote. And I think that's a level of leadership and quality that the Giants haven't had at the quarterback position since Eli Manning. These are definitely things that we used to hear about Eli Manning and his leadership and his ability to uplift his teammates and be a guiding force for his teammates, a light for the ships out at sea, a lighthouse for the ships out at sea. We used to hear that about Eli Manning. We hear that now about Russell Wilson. And what I think is really crucial to note here is that Russ is not only having this impact, bringing this energy and all this experience and offering it to the players and to his teammates. It's not just that, but it's for the coaching staff as well. We talk a lot about Daboll, some of the mistakes that he's made in the first 3 seasons of his tenure as the New York Giants head coach. A lot of Giants fans are out on Daboll. They don't believe in him. They think he should have been fired. Some other Giants fans feel as though, hey, he's done some good things in the past. Let's give him this one last year. Let's give him the shot with some new quarterbacks and see if he can make it work. But again, lost in the translation of all this, lost in the mix, in the discourse of Daboll, I think a lot of people oftentimes do forget that he is a rookie first-time head coach. Now, no longer technically a rookie as he's entering the 4th season as the head coach of the Giants, but a young first-time head coach. The Giants knew when they hired him what they were taking on was an inexperienced coach who was going to have growing pains along the way. And those growing pains don't just dissipate after one season. The Giants made the playoffs in the first season of the Brian Daboll era, and everybody was excited. And honestly, it caused a little bit of a miscalculation on the Giants' part. They thought they were a better team than they were. They probably put too much faith into Daboll and Shane than they should have initially. It was a little bit of fool's gold that 2022 season, and we know that now entering 2025 after back-to-back terrible losing campaigns. But again, if you look even back to that 2022 season, Daboll wasn't perfect by any means. He had his flaws. He had his weaknesses show up time and time again. And they just kind of got exasperated over the last 2 seasons as things fell apart for the Giants in many different ways. Injuries at the quarterback position in 2023, just poor performances at the quarterback position combined with injuries in 2024. The Giants have not been able to put their best team on the field during the entire Brian Daboll tenure. And he has had some struggles along the way himself, of course. So when you're looking at Daboll from that perspective as a young coach who's kind of learning how to be a head coach at the same time, obviously entering year 4, it's make or break. It's put up or shut up. You should get it by now. You should have it handled and understood entering your 4th season. But he is inexperienced, and I do think that sometimes fans forget that, and sometimes they do need to put into perspective there is growing pains for a coach the same way there is for a player. Like we'll see young quarterbacks. Think about the first 4 seasons of Eli Manning's career. It wasn't until year 4 that he put it all together and won that Super Bowl against the Patriots, Super Bowl 42. But he was really poor as a rookie. He started to show progress in year 2, but it was bumpy. Same thing in year 3, year 4, finally came into his own. And I think that's something that we can be hopeful about with Daboll. Sometimes it is the same with coaches. Sometimes they make some progress across a few years, and then by year 4, they hit that stride, or maybe even later, maybe earlier, depends. But again, let's keep it optimistic with Daboll. But I bring up Daboll to say this about Russell Wilson. Daboll, with a little bit of inexperience and entering this 4th season, looking to how he can get better, lending or some of that experience being lent from Russell Wilson to Daboll. Here's a great quote that Daboll had on Russell Wilson. Quote, I think it's important to listen to the quarterbacks. They're the ones that are touching the ball in every play. Certainly, Russell Wilson has a lot of accolades behind his playing career and experience. It's been good, but Russ has been good for us, I'd say, in a number of ways since he's been out here, end quote. And that was a quote that he gave when asked about the transition from practices to feature more 7-on-7 and 11-on-11 drills. That wasn't Daboll's idea this offseason. That was Russell Wilson's idea. Russ bringing that almost 15 years of playing experience to the table and saying, hey, Daboll, love the team, love being here, but we got to be better, and this is how we're going to do it. And Daboll saying, you know what? You are the experienced player here. You are the Super Bowl champion. You're the future Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm going to listen to you. I think that takes humility. I think that takes a culture that prioritizes communication and open communication, especially. And I think that's important for a head coach, especially with one like with a reputation as Daboll, to be a little bit of a hothead sometimes and be a little bit temperamental. I think it's important for him to be open to that feedback and take that and use it as constructive criticism and change the practice regimen to be better and to match what Russell Wilson thinks is best for this quarterback room, because he does know better than Daboll. He's been in the league longer and he's had more success than anybody, really, truthfully, on the New York Giants roster right now. So I know this was about the quarterback room this episode, but kind of transition that into a little bit of praise of Brian Daboll for trying to be better this offseason and taking those steps to be better. Very important stuff that I think we're seeing in terms of Brian Daboll's development. And I think it's interesting how Russell Wilson is sparking that development and growth. And continuing from there, you know, Russell Wilson's done a lot to not only help Daboll, to help a lot of these receivers, bringing Jalen Hyatt out for a private workout in LA, working extra time with him during the practices, you know, doing so much there. But also with these quarterbacks, taking Jackson Dart under his wing in some ways, you know, not necessarily being a constant coach to him, but showing him, hey, this is how I operate. This is how I do things. The knowledge that I give you is important because it makes the entire team better. And that's what I'm here for. That's the mindset that Russell Wilson has had. So just being a good role model and a good example for Jackson Dart, I think is important. And then speaking of Jackson Dart, this is what John Schmelk of Giants.com wrote about Jackson Dart. And I thought this was pretty exciting. Quote, what has really stood out for me has been his personality. After he finished his first in-person media availability during OTAs, I turned to Dan Salamone and Matt Sytak and said, he's Captain Charisma. Everyone raved about Jackson Dart's personality, leadership skills, and intangibles in college, and those have been apparent in how he has operated so far as a Giant. I loved that paragraph, that quote from John Schmelk, written in an article that he posted today on Giants.com, and I wanted to talk about it, and that's why we're talking about it. Captain Charisma, Mr. Riz himself, Jackson Dart, the Dark Knight, if you will. I love Jackson Dart's energy and personality. How many times have I said that on this channel? How many times did I complain that I was so bored of the ums and the company lines of the quarterback room for the last 6 years for that one quarterback whose name I shall not mention? How many times was I sitting here complaining, and many of you agreeing with me, about how bland that quarterback room was and how much of a lack of personality they had? Well, no longer the case. You've got famous Jameis, who does his crazy celebrations and his pregame speeches. You've got a young, exciting Ole Miss quarterback in Jackson Dart who has that charisma and brings that personality to the practice field and to the regular season field every single moment. And then you've got Mr. Unlimited, Russell Wilson. You know, you all know the meme there, Mr. Unlimited, Broncos country, let's ride, Giants nation, let's ride. In fact, we have Let's Ride Giants t-shirts, Fireside Giants. Go check that out. EmpireSportsMedia.com. But just so much personality being injected into this quarterback room after years of it being so bland and being company line every single time and being, we're going to look at the film and execute better. No more of that. You get Russell Wilson so intentional in the way that he speaks and so intentional in what he says and sharing that experience and trying to make the team better. You've got Jackson Dart introducing himself and shaking hands with every single media reporter at his first OTA availability. You've got him out there just bringing a new life and new energy to this team. And I just think it's really exciting. It is the dawn of a new era for the New York Giants. This is new energy that we're seeing in this quarterback room, and I'm excited about it. And that's really what this episode was about. Just me being excited for this Giants quarterback room. Is this a top 10 quarterback room in the NFL? No, because they don't have a top 10 quarterback. But is it a much better quarterback room than what they entered the season with last year? Not even debatable, not even close. Of course, Russell Wilson's an upgrade over what they had, and I think that Jackson Dart is a special talent with special potential. But what really separates him, and I think this is crucial for a lot of young quarterbacks, you can have all that talent, but if you don't have that confidence and that personality to go along with it, you're never going to truly unlock that potential. But Dart has that confidence, and he has that personality. He is likable, and he is well loved by all of his teammates. And I think that's really crucial as a young quarterback in order to develop. You have to have the support of your teammates, and you have to be a guy that everybody wants to battle alongside. And Jackson Dart has that, along with the traits and the talent that he possesses physically. So I'm really excited about Dart, as you guys know, and just excited for the season for this quarterback room. So want to hit you guys with a quick upload today. Again, it's my birthday, so I am going to go duck out of here and celebrate. But also just wanted to say thank you. It's another trip around the sun for me. And so this morning I reflect and I say, hey, what am I grateful for after another year on this earth? And one of the things that I am tremendously grateful for is all of you, the Fireside Giants viewers who tune in every single day, who support this channel and believe in what we're doing and what we're growing here with this brand and with this community. I appreciate every single one of you, whether you tune in passively and you don't leave comments, whether you're one of our frequent commenters, a member who pays to support the channel. We appreciate you guys so much. You tune into every live stream, you leave super chats, you leave comments, or again, if you just watch and you don't even comment at all, no matter what you do, I appreciate you. And I just am here to say thank you and to say, think about how much fun we're going to have on this channel when the Giants are actually winning football games. Got tough last year, only 3 wins. Not a whole lot to talk about other than doom and gloom. But this year, I think we're going to win some games, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So, again, appreciate everybody tuning in. Really excited for this 2025 season. Think it's going to be a fun one. And I think that it's a really optimistic and bright future ahead, not only for the New York Giants, but also for Fireside Giants. So just wanted to say thank you guys. And, again, hit you guys with a quick upload today ahead of this upcoming holiday weekend. So ahead of that, I hope that you all do have fun, and I hope that you guys have wonderful celebrations. Stay safe and enjoy the time with the fam. But without further ado, I will catch you on the next one. Have a good one, and let's go New York Giants.
Perfect.